evening. We're going to call to order the Planning and Zoning meeting for December 2nd, 2025. So calling the meeting to order, clerk, please call the roll to establish a quorum.
Commissioner Grieshop.
Here.
Albertson. Here. Creviston. Here. Hereley. Here. Licht. Here. Patnaude. Here. Sandoval. Here. All present.
Thank you. I need to seek approval of our minutes from the last meeting. I need a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Oh, did I skip a step? Okay, well, all right. Next, we're going to open the floor. Oh, sorry. Who's made the motion? A motion from Commissioner Albertson for the minutes. Who seconded it? Commissioner Patnaude. Motion forward. Okay. Oh. Please call the vote on that, clerk.
Commissioner Albertson.
Aye.
Creviston.
Aye.
Grieshop.
Aye.
Hereley.
Aye.
Licht.
Aye.
Patnaude.
Aye.
Sandoval.
Aye.
All ayes, motion carries.
Okay, moving on to any public comment not related to this hearing from anybody out in the audience. If you'd like to speak, now you can. If you want to tell us who's going to win, Packers or Bears, we'd listen to that. But okay, hearing none, we'll move on. We'll open the scheduled hearing. The petitioner, Kunet Incorporated, along with Steve Avang, property owner, are seeking zoning map amendment pursuant to section 14.2 of the Harvard Unified Development Ordinance to rezone a property from RA residential agriculture to R6 multifamily residential district for the purpose of constructing Class A apartment complex. The subject property is located in Chemung Township and is commonly known as Lonesome Road, Harvard, Illinois. Following PIN number 01-27-400-010. Clerk, was the notice of the hearing per statutory requirements published in the Northwest Herald?
Published in Northwest Herald on November 5th.
Were the certified notices sent to property owners within 250 feet of the subject property?
Mailed to the property owners of record on November 5th.
Was the certificate of publication, completed petition, staff report, and the staff report entered into the record?
They are.
Thank you. At this time, does the staff have anything they'd like to add?
The subject parcel is currently zoned RA Residential Agriculture, which was rezoned in 2018 from R3 Single, Two-Family, and Multifamily through the adoption of our Unified Development Ordinance. The petitioner is requesting a zoning map amendment back to R6 Multifamily Residential in order to build a Class A apartment complex. We've analyzed section 14.2E-1 of our Unified Development Ordinance and have provided information on page 3 of the staff report relating to those sections for the commissioner's review.
That's it. Thank you. Ann? Are the parties of interest for this hearing present?
Yes.
Would you please step forward, tell your name and address, and be sworn in by the clerk?
John Cunat. I'm the owner of Cunat Inc. Address 6102 Chickaloon Drive, McHenry.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear that the testimony you were about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, John, go ahead and present your petition.
Okay. I didn't know if you're going to have public comment first or not.
No, we're letting you go first.
Okay. Well, we are proposing 330 units on approximately 28 acres, 26 acres. It was zoned multifamily. It is currently zoned single-family agriculture. We would like to put apartments on there that will be upscale apartments for the whole area. They'll have 110 garages, 330 units, 660 parking spaces. There'll be full market apartments. There'll be no subsidies of any type. We will have a multi-purpose building with pools and workout center and offices, of course, for the rentals. To the north, we're proposing a 100-foot landscape berm. And to the east, we will have a 70-foot landscape berm. We will be putting in approximately 70 to 100 additional trees that are not there now. It's just a flat field. We're not asking for anything, no exceptions, no cuts in fees, permit fees, school fees, park or fire department fees. We propose to start construction this spring. Currently, Northfield Court Apartments, which we own, and we purchased the ones across the street and refurbished them. We're at 100% occupancy on them. We also know that Harvard is looking for additional living quarters for upscale tenants. Our rent fees are 30% of the tenant's income. So there will be nobody's getting in there just living there and making ends meet. Either they can qualify or they don't. As you may have seen, Northfield just went through a major facelift. The financing on it when we built it in '90 finally came due. We refinanced it, took out an additional $2.5 million and put new parking lots, siding, and roofs on everything, as well as interior improvements. The tax dollars currently that the school receives is around $400+ for the piece of vacant land. When we are done using Northfield, which is an older project, as the estimate, the school stands to get around $426,000 per year in tax return. We anticipate, according to the state figures and our figures, we will generate from birth to 18 about 67 students. We don't feel it'll be a burden on the city or the schools in any way. We know that the donations that will be given during the permits will significantly impact all the different departments. When we built Northfield, we had zero complaints from the city as far as construction. Everything the city has asked us down through the years, we have complied with. We feel it would be a major asset to the village, city. I would open it up for any questions from the committee, zoning board.
So, okay, you, commissioners, oh gee. Excuse me. Siri wanted to talk. Okay, planning and zoning commissioners, now is the time we can address Mr. Kunat on any questions that we may have, so feel free to ask questions.
The first question I have is just when we redid the UDO with all the zoning,
I'm sorry.
when the city went through the whole restructuring with the zoning, when the whole UDO happened a couple years back, why wasn't it R6 at that point?
I do not know. We were not involved in the property at the time.
Does anyone here have an answer for that?
We do not.
I think originally it came in under a tax exempt, a TIF district, and I think they just recovered it and said we're eliminating that.
Okay.
That's the rumor I've heard, but that's Maybe Debbie could help with that.
I don't have any information on
Yeah,
that.
because even then, like, the last meeting we had, we unzoned an R6 that was in the middle of a cornfield.
Yes.
So they're here and there, but this one just didn't get it. One other thing I noticed when looking through this, when we're talking about parking spaces, you say that you have 660. That's actually, it's short. So you have to have one visitor space per every 10 dwelling units, which means you're 33 spaces short.
Well, then we would add 33 spaces. Not a problem. That'd be an easy enough.
If it's already figured out, how are you gonna add 33?
Excuse me, John. Those of you in the public sitting there, be respectful to the person at the podium. You may have something to say. You will have your chance to say it, but not now. Don't be disrespectful. Matt, did you want to say anything to the commissioners? We didn't do that before. Jay starts to ask some specific questions.
Sure, I can do that, and I just, Commissioners, I don't think I've met any of you. My name is Matt Walters. I'm an attorney with the firm Zukowski, Rogers, Flood, and McCardle. We do represent the city in various matters. As we're going into this, and certainly we have this presentation here today, I do want to actually point out and remind you that what you're looking at tonight is whether it is appropriate to make the recommendation to rezone from RA to R6. You are not voting on this particular project tonight. Obviously, Mr. Cunhat is here today because he is asking for the change and he is presenting his proposal as it is. But what you are being asked to review and decide is to make the recommendation to forward to the city council of whether the zoning should change. Ultimately, this project will further go before city staff. City staff will have the opportunity to review all of the drawings. Should you make the recommendation and should the city council make the change to R6, city staff would then review all of the drawings, review all the proposals, make sure it fits within all of the ordinances and everything from there. But I do think it's important to consider what you're here for is not whether you approve of this particular project. It is whether you are supporting the move from RA to R6 for this parcel.
Thank you, Matt. Jay, if you'd like to continue then with any questions?
I think most of my questions are for the city, so.
Okay.
Certainly you can address, if you have questions for the staff about
Okay.
their report, you can
It's
also.
Didn't want. All right, yeah, so I know one of the bigger concerns, and we have it in here with the traffic study as well, with the impact, with Northfield, and that's the bigger concern I've seen people have as well with that road being as open as it is, no stops, and then also the intersection at the end with 14. If we were to rezone and add more development, or even any other development down that road that would funnel through, does the city have the resources to manage, and like what would the time frame be typically to address those kinds of concerns?
So we would require a traffic study of the developer. It would be at their cost. It would be done through our city engineer. And then whatever the outcome of that traffic study was, the turnaround time would be based on the outcome. And then we would follow the advice of the engineer as far as what would need to be done to control that flow of traffic based on the outcome of that study. It would be required before the development was approved as part of the development agreement.
One thing I didn't mention, originally when this was zoned multifamily, it was zoned for 360 units at that time. We pared it down to 330. Lessens the density. We also put the rec building in there, which was not originally thought of.
Yes, but to Matt's point, if we rezone this, it doesn't matter what you change your plans to, it's zoned for it then. So,
It would be zoned for whatever the ordinance says, but as was pointed out, the zoning would be changed. The city has the ultimate say on how many units will go there. It's not you don't get a guarantee of that number.
Yeah, because you have to have a certain amount of permeable surface as well, and then you can only have the units have to be a certain size too. So
Correct.
there's restrictions. One thing I was just curious about when we're looking at the map, there are parking spaces that have identifiers on them, and I can't tell what those are. So other than the handicap, there's a bunch of other little circles.
Those are typically planted areas. Or some of them are the blocked out areas for the handicap. You know, you have handicap and then you have another 8 feet for their unloading and loading.
Yeah.
The little dots you see are trees.
That's all my questions.
Okay, Paul?
Have you had any meetings with any of the superintendent or the chief of police about how this is gonna impact the city?
Yes. I know we've met with the police department to go over police calls for 250 residents. We have Northfield Court, that's all we have to draw off of right now. And we had our police calls quantitated versus 250 single-family homes. It's in the packet. We were significantly less than the 250 homes. So we're not a burden to the police department per capita.
And then, Paul, to the other half of yours, I actually reached out to the superintendent about the school's capacity. Over the next couple of years, it's declining just based on the size of the population. But based on a 9% growth in housing availability, that's just a 9%, even though these would have less kids typically, because one bedrooms don't typically have a lot of kids in them. This school would be close to capacity. They can handle it, but the big thing that they just asked is we need to just partner with the school so that they can expand at the same time. But that's also beyond what we're even doing.
Right. Commissioner Licht, Patnaude, Sandoval?
I noticed there were holes, like it seemed to be dug kind of at varying distances from each other. Was that some sort of study?
Yeah, we did a soil borings to make sure that buildings at all could be put there. And just prudence of doing our homework.
Yeah. So what all did that study entail?
We did 50 borings. We went down 15 feet, 18 feet to see what the soil capacity is for foundations. That's all it is. Sewer and water don't require soil borings. Just can the buildings bear the soil, or the soil bear the buildings?
It does remind me of something else that I know has come up for the city as well, is the water and sewer capacity.
Sorry, we anticipate somewhere in the initial numbers that I was given, somewhere between 600 and 700,000 gallons, which we have plenty of capacity on both the water and sewer side for that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 60 to 70,000 gallons.
Also, that neighborhood just recently got its pipes
I'm sorry?
Didn't that neighborhood just get a lot of pipe work too?
There shouldn't be. I mean, most of that would go to Northfield.
Okay.
And the main going through the subdivision is relatively new, so we really shouldn't have to do any work out there for that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for our presenter?
I mean, what about electrical? The grid is obviously going to be much larger when you're adding 300 plus apartments out there.
Well, I'm not an expert seriously with ComEd at all, but I don't believe there's a problem out there. We don't draw as much electric as 300 units do draw electric, a lot of electric, but not to the point where I think it would shut the grid down. Seriously, we put them up in other locations and they just, ComEd brings in transformers and they do what they do.
When you spoke about the 100-foot landscaping berm, what was the 100 feet? Is that depth of the berm?
That's,
It's not height, right?
no. It'll probably average between 6 and 10 feet, depending on the soil that comes out and it rolls. It'll have some contours to it, trees on it. There's a creek that runs to the north side right through there,
Yeah, it goes east-west.
east-west. And there's also a little one that comes north-south on the east edge.
Okay, Mr. Cunett, if you'd take a seat, we're going to open it up to our public testimony for those that signed up. But before we call the first individual, we'll have Attorney Matt just read a little bit or tell you a little bit about what we expect from your testimony or how you should act.
Thank you, Chairman. Again, this is the public's opportunity to speak. Everyone that has signed up will have the opportunity to speak. There's a large crowd, as you can all see, and probably as you all imagined when you saw the parking lot was packed to capacity and then some. Obviously, you are allowed to speak. No one's going to stop and prohibit anyone from speaking. In the matter of timeliness, let's say, if you agree with what someone else has said, you are more than welcome to stand up and say, I agree with what your neighbor said, and, grab a seat. That will be entered into the record. Your comments will be considered, and your testimony will be considered at that point as part of the record. You don't have to necessarily repeat everything that anyone else has said, but it is your right. One thing I do want to note, there have been a couple of comments as we've started going today, and as the chairman noted, we are asking for a level of decorum and consideration through here. Everyone will have a chance to speak. Please do not interrupt each other. Please do not engage with people through the audience or ask questions from the audience until you are speaking. This is a public situation. This is an opportunity for everyone to speak, but it is not an opportunity to heckle, and it is not an opportunity to engage in kind of, bad or poor decorous behavior. But with that, Chairman, I would turn it over.
Sure.
If you
The
wanna
only
start
thing I would
calling
add to
people
that, direct your comments to us. We're the ones. Don't turn around and talk to your neighbor. Don't turn around and talk to Mr. Cunett. If he wants to rebut or answer any questions at the end, he will be allowed to. And then we're going to ask some more questions if we want to. So just remember, you're talking to this group of people up here, okay? Clerk Logan, would you please call the first person that wants to speak?
Scott Schlendorf. Sorry if I mispronounced that.
You did real well.
Thank you.
My name is Scott Schlendorf. I am a resident of the Oak Grove Crossing subdivision, and although I am not an official representative, I do think I speak for the majority of those out there.
Before you get going, we do need to
Yeah, we need to
swear
swear you in.
anyone who's going to testify.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do. Thank you. Regarding the current proposal to change the zoning from residential agricultural to R6 multi-unit residential, and in order to build a 330-unit apartment complex, we, the residents of nearby properties, wish to make the following comments. We understand that the property in question will eventually be built upon and have no problems with buildings that fit in, but we are very concerned with the type of zoning and building being proposed tonight. While we will address the zoning issues that we have, there will also be comments concerning the Cunett proposal, as the zoning change request is tied to the project being proposed. Regarding the current proposal, a staff analysis was reported, or was written by the staff at City Hall. You have a copy of this in your packet. The report states, in making the recommendation to approve a zoning map amendment, staff has considered the following approval standards from the Unified Development Ordinance, Article 14. Sounds to me like the Building Department and Planning and Zoning has already decided this issue, and we're not comfortable with that. We are also not in agreement with many of the points made in the analysis. Tonight, I and others will be addressing the points from the staff analysis report from Article 14, however, not necessarily in the order that they were written. Item 1421A states the proposed amendment shall be compatible with the existing use and zoning of nearby properties. We disagree with the city's findings that this property is compatible. The northern 1,622 feet of this property abuts property zoned R2 residential. The eastern 1,328 feet abuts mainly R4 two-family residential and a small section of R5 traditional multifamily district. The southern 404 feet across the street abuts M1 manufacturing, and the western 1,810 feet abuts across the street and over the railroad tracks more R2 residential district. Of the total 4,790 feet of property line, only 27.2% is compatible with existing use and zoning. The city administrator has informed me that the city's idea of nearby includes properties within a mile or so, thus putting the proposed property in the same properties as Northfield Court Apartments, a trailer park, and a gas station. We feel this is not appropriate. Nearby should include properties close by, not a mile away. Item J, the permitted use of the zoning district being requested can be adequately served by public facilities that are existing or can be reasonably provided prior to new development on the property, including but not limited to schools, parks, police, and fire protection, roads, sanitary sewers, storm sewers, and water lines. My thing here obviously was written prior to this meeting. I heard things tonight that don't necessarily agree with what some of the things I'm going to say. I'm not saying that their side is right or my side is right, but I'm going to go ahead and read to you what I've written. You can debate from there. The staff analysis notes that the infrastructure in the area, including roads, utilities, and public services, have been upgraded to support future growth, including developments such as Oak Grove Crossing. One of the members of the audience will address the issue of police coverage. While we understand a stormwater management plan is not necessary in this stage of the process, the land use map provided shows no retention ponds. How and where is the rainwater going to be addressed? As anyone who drives down Northfield Road during a heavy rain knows that the road floods at the intersection of Northfield and Old Lonesome. The storm sewer manhole covers at 9th and 10th Streets have been known to blow off due to the force of excess rainwater. And adding an additional 29 acres of concrete and asphalt will only make these matters worse. The plan does not show the existing creek that runs from the south to the north from the intersection of Northfield and Old Lonesome through their existing property, and which eventually turns west inside the property of Oak Grove Crossing property owners. We are concerned about what measures will be taken to ensure that there will be no flooding of the creek and damage to properties in our subdivisions. The plans do not specify sidewalks, but with the additional children in this development will bring the additional traffic on Old Lonesome Road and 4 years of construction, we feel that sidewalks must be included. While we have been assured that there is sufficient gas, water, electric, phone, and cable service available, we do question the ability of our schools to handle the influx of 100 or so new students. Dr. Brandon White, the superintendent of Harvard Community School District 50, is here and will address this type of issue and and how it will adversely impact the schools in our area. The president of the Harvard School District informed me that our elementary schools, Jefferson and Crosby, are at mid-80% full, with a projection, not including tonight's subject, to be 90% full in the next few years. Harvard Junior High is already at 97% capacity. Harvard High School, while at only 67% capacity, has the biggest issue in that with state mandated labs and special study rooms required, it does not have enough classroom space needed to keep class sizes down and offer the kind of teacher-student contact they desire. What would be the impact of adding an additional 100, 200 more students? The total district capacity, about 3,040 seats, would rise roughly from 80% utilization to 92 to 93% utilization. Redistribution across campuses would be critical. Elementary schools, Washington, Crosby, and Jefferson, are nearing upper capacity and may experience crowding. The junior high would exceed 100% capacity without reallocation or schedule adjustments. The high school could absorb a moderate share of the increase due to current underutilization, but classroom configuration and course requirements could limit flexibility. Are we really willing to put our schools that close to capacity? In addition, from the Illinois Public School Review for the 2025-2026 school year, there are 5 public schools serving 2,499 students in Harvard, Illinois. Overall testing rank is based on a school's combined math and reading proficiency test score ratings. Harvard, Illinois public schools have an average math proficiency score of 6% versus the Illinois public school average of 27%, and reading proficiency score of 11% versus the 30% statewide average. Schools in Harvard have an average ranking of 1 out of 10, which is in the bottom of 50% of Illinois public schools. Will an additional couple hundred students make this situation better or worse? Item I, the proposed amendment should be consistent with the trend of development, if any, in the general area surrounding the property in question. Again, we disagree with the staff analysis that states the proposed amendment is consistent with the development trend in the area, which includes a mix of residential zoning, R2 through R6, and some light industrial, M1. We question the trend that they're referring to, as all the buildings nearby have been single-family homes and duplexes. Northfield Court was built in 1992, 33 years ago, and Autumn Glen was built in 2001, 24 years ago. There does not appear to be any kind of current trend for this current proposal type of buildings. We feel that the appropriate zoning for this property should be R2 residential district or R3 traditional residential district, or even perhaps R4 two-family residential district. These types of housing are more consistent with the surrounding property and put a much smaller impact on city services and the school district. Article 14C, the degree to which the proposed amendment results in a gain to the public as compared to the hardship imposed upon the applicant. Although the proposal will generate additional tax revenue to the city, economic activity, and additional housing availability, we feel these positives are far outweighed by the negatives. As far as creating a hardship on the applicant, he's currently generating income on the leased land for farming, which he's been doing for decades. We understand this property will be built upon, but do not agree that the current proposal is the best use of this land. Article E, the length of time the property in question has been vacant as presently zoned shall be considered in the context of development in the area where the property is located. The staff analysis notes that the property has been zoned RA since 2018, and we understand the circumstances by which the zoning was changed from R3 before that, perhaps showing historical intentions. We commiserate with the owner, but that's old news, and we're only in consideration of the front. In front of this panel today is the current petition to rezone in order to build 11 multi-unit apartment buildings. We do not feel this is the best use of this land with regards to the many concerns we have. Part F, the proposed amendment shall be consistent with the comprehensive plan and any adopted land use policies. The staff analysis notes that the proposed amendment aligns with the goals of the comprehensive plan. We disagree, as the United Development Ordinance states that the city needed more green space, thus initiating the zoning change from R3 to RA. It may be the city's current thought that it needs increased housing diversity, but we already have multifamily buildings at Northfield Court and Autumn Glen, and there are multiple duplexes built on 9th Street sitting empty. The analysis states that the city also needs sustainable and balanced development, But the truth of the matter is that the vast majority of multifamily housing is in the northwest corner of the city. This is not balanced development. Article G, item G, the proposed amendment will benefit the residents of the city as a whole and not serve solely the interests of the applicants. The staff analysis notes that the proposed amendment includes amenities such as indoor and outdoor pools, pickleball, tennis, and basketball courts, which will be accessible to all city residents. Currently, there are pools available to all city residents at the City Pool, Northfield Court Apartments, and the Baymont Hotel. The City Pool has had declining attendance for years when it's open, and the other locations report only a handful of residents using their pool. At the City Park on Northfield Avenue, there are tennis and pickleball courts, which are also rarely used, and soon there's going to be a basketball court. We do not see how the amenities in an apartment complex benefits the residents of the city as a whole when they are already available and rarely used. In Harvard, school children are bused to and from on buses provided by Durham School Services. Christina Briggs, the general manager of Durham and Harvard, told me that the proposed development would necessitate an additional 5 bus routes and 2 additional drivers that are becoming more and more difficult to find, and this will also cost the Harvard School District additional funds. Does the city of Harvard and the parents of our students really want to take on additional 100 or so students affecting bus service, class size, building restrictions, and efficient learning? We don't think so. As was discussed a little bit a while ago, the intersection of Northfield Road and 14 is already backed up on most mornings. With traffic from an additional 330 apartments, motorists will resort to driving through back roads, through the neighborhoods that are not designed for the extra traffic, and endangering all the children who walk to school along those roads. Also, Old Lonesome Road is the only way into and out of Oak Grove Crossing, a neighborhood of potentially 175 homes. Adding an additional 330 units to this 2-lane road is dangerous in the event of an emergency that closes Northfield Road, like when the old advanced drainage system plant had a fire in their storage area. We were all confined to our homes with toxic smoke billowing across our yards, while the only way out was blocked by fire trucks. In addition, the building plan calls for development in phases over a 4-year period. This is very concerning, as this will add additional truck traffic and heavy equipment traffic all along both Northfield and Old Lonesome Roads. The plans do not specify sidewalks, but with the additional children this development will bring, the additional traffic on Old Lonesome Road, and 4 years of construction, we feel that sidewalks must be included. In addition, the homeowners of Oak Grove Crossing pay annual dues to our homeowners association for the upkeep of community property, including our playground, park area, walking path, and pond. We are especially concerned about trespassing on and around the pond. What assurances do we have that the residents of a 330-unit apartment building will respect the private property we maintain? We've also been paying to maintain the grass area on both sides of Old Lonesome Road, with several members of our community taking it upon themselves to pick up and dispose of litter. Will the new landowners continue to maintain the easements on both sides of the road and pick up the litter that an additional 500 tenants will generate, either deliberately or by blowing trash? In summary, we feel that the 330-unit apartment development and an R6 zoning is not compatible with the existing use and nearby zoning, does not promote the public health, safety, and welfare of the city, does not result in a gain to the public, is not consistent with the comprehensive plan, does not benefit the residents of the city as a whole, is not consistent with the real trend of development in the area, and is not adequately served by all public facilities. We're also concerned about the no subsidies that was mentioned by Mr. Kunat, as all 15 Kunat apartment buildings in McHenry County accept subsidies, and we're skeptical of their proposal and whether or not that will be maintained through the life of the building. In addition to many residents of Oak Grove Crossing, I also speak for Cheryl and John Tracy of the Tracy Group, who own 23 lots in the Oak Grove Crossing subdivision, and who completely agree with our concerns and has sent to me a signed copy of this to share if needed. Thank you for listening tonight, and we hope you agree with the assessments of our group regarding the proposed zoning change and the development that is tied to it.
Thank you.
Any questions? No questions from the group?
No. We'll have the next speaker. Who's a? Clerk Logan, who's our next speaker?
Joe Pienta?
State your name and be sworn in, please.
Good evening, my name is Joe Pienta.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you. Good evening, everyone. I've been a resident of Harvard since 2015 and a resident of Oak Grove Crossing since 2017. We are here this evening to discuss changing a building and zoning code for development right outside of Oak Grove Crossing, but as you've seen already, it is much, much more than that. I do want to point out that myself and others in Oak Grove are not against development, or even necessarily development in that spot. We support the current state of single-family duplex buildings similar to what you have seen being put up alongside Northfield Road. We are, however, vehemently against changing the zoning to allow multi-story apartment complexes. Adding an R6 zone to this area doesn't fit with the rest of the area, and if this ordinance were to pass, issues will arise that will not only affect those living in Oak Grove, but anyone living off of Northfield Road. At a previous meeting with concerned citizens, I heard about a verbal agreement between the party here tonight and former city staff. However, nothing has been approved or confirmed in writing, nor written agreement. Therefore, that point is moot. A previous administration and some sort of deal that was struck decades ago holds no ground here today. It was also mentioned at that meeting that the party here this evening was not made aware of the zoning change that occurred almost 10 years ago, as they are not a resident of Harvard. As unfortunate as that may be, the current zoning stands and should not be under consideration for change. The packet mentions revenue if the apartment complexes are created. The numbers are estimates and hold no ground, as it is all a possibility. It's also important to note that those living in these apartments will pay zero in property taxes. That does not benefit the city of Harvard. However, I will go over to detail that if the proposal moves forward at a later date. Finally, I want to reiterate again that I nor others that will or have spoken tonight are against development here in Harvard. We are against the change in ordinance to allow multi-story apartment complexes. We want to see Harvard grow, but in a way that makes sense and is in the best interest of the citizens of Harvard. Think of it this way. Does Harvard want to be known as a homeowner community or a rental community? Because that is what we're moving towards if you rezone. We will be a town of rental units, not of homeowners. And think of it this way. You put a 330-unit complex up where it's proposed. How will this affect the property taxes and property values of all the residents living not just in Oak Grove Crossing, but along Northfield as well? That will negatively affect our property taxes and our home rates if something like this were to go in. I urge all of you here tonight, look at the zoning map. Look at what does and does not make sense. Listen to your constituents and make the right decision by voting no on this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. We will not clap or cheer, okay? Mr. Clerk Logan, who's next?
Melissa Brinks?
Remember, if you concur a lot with the previous speakers, do so.
Can I just say that without being sworn in?
No, well, yeah,
She's just agreeing.
if you're,
I'm just agreeing.
okay,
Yeah, thank you.
all right, thank you. Clerk Logan next.
Jason Brinks.
I'm agreeing as well with the previous two speakers. Thank you.
Thank you. Clerk
John Lavalley.
John Lavalley, 1607 Wildflower.
You have to be sworn in.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
So help you God. Thank you.
All right, Matt kind of stole my thunder a bit regarding what we're here to do tonight. Basically, we're just looking to rezone. We're not looking for this. I mean, this may or may not happen. Once they get zoning, they can do pretty much anything they want as long as they're within our ordinance. I know you all know, but I just want to state it for some of the people behind me that may not know. In 2016, CMAT developed a comprehensive land use for the city of Harvard. There were many suggestions within it. From this comprehensive land map came out the UDO. And also, what also came with it is new zoning, because the old zoning was very outdated. R3, for instance, was pretty much everything. You know, single-family duplexes, even up to this, you know, multi-family developments like this one. So the whole city got rezoned, all right? So that's why, you know, maybe the person who owned the land didn't specifically get a letter, because the whole city got rezoned. And notice went out in the paper, and as far as I understand, it got, it was out there for like twice as long as it needed to be, just to make sure that, you know, everybody was aware that this was going on. When it got rezoned, 8 locations that weren't RA got zoned RA, okay? 3 went from R1 to RA. 1 went from R2 to RA. 2 went from R3 to RA, and 2 went from M1 to RA. All right, why? Well, as much as I can see is because the locations were inconsistent according to the recommendations of the comprehensive land use and the UDO. So they got zoned RA because that made sense with the suggestions from the comprehensive land use and the UDO. They didn't have to be rezoned now to be farmed, remember. There's multiple fields around Oak Grove right now that are zoned R2 and R1 that are being farmed, actively farmed. So they didn't have to be. So why was this particular property zoned RA? It could have been farmed at, you know, R3 or R5 or R4. The committee could have put any, you know, designation they wanted on it. Well, as much as I figure is that RA made sense. RA made sense according to the UDO, and RA made sense according to the comprehensive land use. The petitioner had 20 years to develop this land when it was R3. He wouldn't have had to have this hearing. He could have just done it, right? But he did not take advantage of that situation. 2018, it got rezoned. He's had 7 years. He hasn't done anything. Now all of a sudden he wants to change it, and that's fine. We're having this hearing. All good. But I just wanted to, you know, looking at the zoning map, which I have a copy of here, I think, somewhere. Yeah. You know, if you look at the new zoning map, nowhere on this map, nowhere is as much property adjacent that is R2 to R6. Nowhere. So it's, you know, it's almost a third of a mile on the north side is going to be a button R2. Nowhere else in the city does that happen. One thing I did want to also bring up, and I don't know how exactly this may or may not affect anything, but it was talked about that low and some right now is one way in, one way out. All right. Oak Grove has to live with it because it wasn't part of the UDO. There was no UDO back then. But now there is a section in the UDO, 12.11B1, that states that all major subdivisions must have 2 separate remote means of ingress and egress. I would say that 330 units would count as a major. Maybe not a subdivision, but it is still a sizable amount of people, and the only way in and the only way out is Northfield going into Lonesome. And then I also wanted to touch on a little bit about what the last speaker was talking about. Right now, 40% of our households in the city are renter occupied. That's according to McHenry County, all right? McHenry County average right now is 19%. Woodstock is 30%, Marengo is 30%, the city of McHenry is 19%. So we have become a city of renters. And this is only going to, once again, make it even more lopsided. We have a hard time right now filling committees. We have a hard time right now getting people to run for office. Why? Because they're renters. Once again, my opinion. I swore though. But they don't have skin in the game. You know, they're not tied to the community like us homeowners are. So, like the previous speaker said, I'm not against growth. I'm just against irresponsible growth. And I think making this land R6 and putting this development or any other development on this particular piece of property is irresponsible. Irresponsible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lavallee. Clerk, please call the next speaker. Whoa, 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 calm down. One at a time. Clerk, please call the next person.
Tim Hoover?
I agree with the prior speaker.
Thank you.
Last name Myers, I can't read the first name.
Pass.
Okay. Jody Roberts.
I agree with everything.
Rick Roberts.
My name is Rick Roberts. I live at 1905 Cherry Lane in Harvard.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you are about to give before this commission is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
I first of all would like to say I agree with everything that they have brought up to this point. I just wanted to add that as a resident of Harvard for a long time, we look for you to make these decisions for us. And they're very important, not only for Oak Grove Crossing, but for Harvard as a town. And so you folks are the ones that make that decision. We can only give you our opinions, we can give you some facts, but it seems to me on this particular issue, it's really been pushed forward fast. You know, we just saw some drilling and all of a sudden somebody says something, hey, what's going on out there? And somebody says on Facebook or whatever, you know, they're looking at, oh, don't worry about it. You know, they haven't even went before the zoning committee. And now here we are 2-3 weeks later at the zoning committee and wanting you folks to make this decision. We don't even know as residents at this point, what is the timeline for your decision? How much time do we have? We don't have, in our opinion right now, enough time to really even present a good, solid foundation for what we're telling you we don't want. Again, we're not against in any way adding to the city of Harvard. You know, if they want to build, you know, multifamily duplexes there, houses, we're fine with that. But 300 plus apartments in a neighborhood that already has all of the apartments. Ward 2 is all of them are there. So I just think, again, if you guys could read your own planning that's on your website that you presented as a long-term plan, it doesn't show that. It actually has on, say, page 6 or 7, a plan saying that that is not going to be developed for multifamily. It talks about Northfield Court, talks about the other apartments there. It doesn't even add in that we've built all of the duplexes there. So we have a lot, and it's concentrated in one area. So that's my big concern, but that's just my concern, and I just want you folks to realize that it's your decision, and we rely on you to make the right decision for all of Harvard, not just for Oak Grove Crossing, all of Harvard. And please, give us time. I don't know if you're even going to make a decision tonight, if you're voting tonight. Is that, we don't even know as citizens if that's the case. So that's my comments. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Clerk, would you please call the next person?
Dr. White?
Good evening. My name is Dr. Brandon White, Superintendent of Harvard District 50.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give before this commission is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Good evening, zoning commissioners and the community of Harvard. I just want to first thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight, and I appreciate the work that is being done not only by the commissioners, but the administrator and the rest of the Harvard community. I also want to say that and be clear that Harvard CUSD 50 is fully committed to being a collaborative partner with the city. Our work is connected and our shared planning matters. I also understand that there is a need for affordable housing within the Harvard community. However, I want to briefly highlight how school capacity connects directly to zoning and development decisions. While our overall enrollment has remained relatively stable at about 2,500 students with similar projections over the coming years if housing would stay growing at the rate it is. The distribution of our students across our buildings, though, is where the real challenge exists. Several of our schools are already operating at high utilization because of the unique grade level bands at each of the buildings. Crosby and Jefferson are both near or above 85%, and with Jefferson projected to exceed 90%. The junior high is the most constrained building, although I would say it's Washington, but I'm going to use the numbers, at right around 92% utilization and very close to capacity. The high school, as mentioned earlier, does have an overall lower utilization rate, but I'm sure as many of you are aware, we are eagerly growing dual credit CTE courses and other workforce-ready programming that will need some space. If residential developments were to result in any major student increase of, let's say, 100 or more students, we would move into the district-wide range of over 90% utilization. That level of growth would crowd our elementary buildings, push the junior high beyond capacity, and require careful reallocation and planning at the high school. Intentional coordination is necessary to absorb growth at the scale of any major development. This does not take into account our hopes of also expanding early childhood education within the Harvard community. That reality is why early communication between the city, developers, and the school district is so important. We aim to actively participate in zoning and development discussions from the outset, rather than reacting to decisions later. Early inclusion allows us to responsibly plan for staffing, transportation, student services, class sizes, and facility needs. When we are brought in late, our ability to protect educational quality becomes much harder. I also want to be clear that growth requires resources. If student enrollment increases, the district will need additional staffing, classroom space, transportation support, and student services. Growth without aligned resources directly affects class sizes, safety, and supports our students rely on. Our responsibility is to ensure that we have the capacity to meet the needs of all learners and all children of Harvard now and into the future. And as you heard, I don't like to hear those scores, but they are our reality, and we're going to do some amazing work in the years ahead to improve those. But I come here tonight not to be political, not to be for or against. More importantly, just asking that we, as Harvard continues to plan for future growth, future development, that we're at the beginning of those conversations, so we can actively plan for the education of all students, those that we have and any that will come join this great community. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. White. Clerk Logan, next.
Amy Dapper?
Amy Dapper, 302 West Burbank Street, Harvard, Illinois.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give before this commission is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Hi, I live in the area outside Oak Grove Estates. I live in town. I can tell you that we have increased traffic on Second Street, and we're going to see more throughout the neighborhoods. This is a lovely complex. I'm just not sure it belongs where they propose to build it. I think it's too dense for that area. There's not enough land. I agree with everything that was said here. I think you should keep your plans, but I think you should maybe make it 55 and over. And, you want us boomers out of our houses, and we'd be willing to go. We have nowhere to go. So if they want to continue something like this in another area in Harvard, that's something to consider. And if they do something like that, we have less impact to the schools and to the police, and we just need the rescue squad. So anyway, I know we need growth here, but if you do something like this for the old boomers here, we will be selling our houses to young families and keep the neighborhoods going and still have growth and still have more people in town to buy things, maybe bring in more businesses and such. So that's my input, so.
Thank you, Mrs. Dapper. Next, Mr. Clerk Logan.
Jennifer Garofal.
Hi, Jennifer Garofal, Oak Grove Crossing resident.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give before this commission is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Just real quick, I agree with everyone that spoke before me, and I kind of want to just negate an argument that Mr. Cunett made in the beginning. I believe his quote was that 250 units are in Northfield Court Apartments right now, and that the calls for service from the police department are significantly less than the number of units. I'm not good at math, I'll be the first one to admit that. But between January 1st of 2025 and November 3rd, there were 231 calls for service for the Harvard Police Department. That's not a significantly lower number than the amount of units. As a 28-year veteran of a law enforcement agency, I can tell you that Cunett Apartments are notorious for calls for service from police. You can ask any police officer in McHenry County, you just say Cunett, they're going to know what you're talking about. Another FOIA request was done with the Woodstock Police Department for the same dates, January 1st through November 3rd. Three addresses at Cunett Apartments had 45 calls for service within that time frame. So I'm just here to say that. Class A looks great, everything's shiny and new and pretty when it's new, but there's nothing policing that's going to stay that way. I'm sure Northfield Court was Class A when it was first built as well, and now look at the state of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk Logan next.
Todd Strite.
Hi, Todd Strite, Poplar Grove, Illinois.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give before this commission is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
So a lot of the people behind me are my old neighbors. I was probably the 6th or 7th house, maybe 8th, built in Oak Grove Crossing. I lived there for 25 years. I guess I don't know what I would have thought as a resident of Oak Grove Crossing when I lived there, but in working with Hartwig Mechanical for 31 years and being the vice president for 15, I have done a lot of projects with Cunett Inc. Just recently finished a fairly sizable project in Volo. I don't remember, 30 units, maybe 12 units, and on the brink of finishing one in McHenry. I do feel that what they've done in those areas I don't know all the statistics of, police calls, et cetera, but I do feel what they've done in those neighborhoods has, tremendously helped that. And the buildings are nice, the amenities are nice, and I do believe that, Hardwick started with 25 to 30 employees. We have 150 field employees, 200 employees total. It's a lot of people working. The city itself doesn't have many opportunities at projects like this. I don't disagree with anybody here. I've lived here for 50 years of my 55, 56 years, I guess now, of my life. So I don't have disagreements with anybody. Everybody has their own opinion, but there's not a lot going on here. There's not a lot going on for the economy. Right, wrong, or indifferent. I just feel that they'll do a decent job and stick to, what the city approves, what the plans state, and what they can do for the community. I do know in owning, a fair amount of property in Harvard, the days of us building a bunch of houses are probably, the chances are not great. I feel that through our business, and this is just through our business, that we have done probably more, well, I know this because the house, other than KLM, the housing market has, throughout McHenry County and wherever, is pretty much, it's just non-existent. We have done more apartments, more senior apartments, and more assisted living type things, and single-family apartments than we've done in anything residentially. I mean, I don't care if it's Batavia, Carroll Stream, wherever. I can't name them all, but I just think that in doing business with John for a long time in his organization, he'll do a good job. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Strike. Clerk Logan, next.
Lori Danzig.
Lori Danzig, 1209 Willow Lane.
Do you swear the testimony you are about to give before this commission is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
I want to first state that I do agree with everything that's been said prior, with the exception of Mr. Strite, no offense. I was one of the first homes built out in Oak Grove Crossing, and there was a reason why. It's because we were separate. We were a little bit away, but we still had the country, but we still had the city. Again, I'm not against putting more homes out there, but Mr. Kunat, I did not want to address it, but I will. I have been, after 40 years of being in criminal justice field, I've been in a lot of the Kunat properties. I watched them go from beautiful places to not so beautiful places very quickly. And when I hear things like, we will not accept subsidized housing, you will, because it is illegal to deny somebody by the Human Rights Act on the way, the source of income. You can put the price high, but you will bring the price down because you want to fill them. We will have another Section 8. There are good people in Section 8, but with Section 8 comes trouble. And it's not just Oak Grove Crossing that's going to feel it. It is the entire city. We all deserve to give children and grandchildren a safer and a better city. We start bringing in that, and we are going to have even worse troubles. I could go on forever, but I just thought that needed to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. Clerk Logan, next.
Joe Gertis.
Joe Gertis, 1203 Magnolia Street.
Do you swear the testimony you're about to give before this commission is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. So at first, it was a Class A, and now it's apparently not a Class A. So who's it really for? Because the median income is $40,000 in this town. People can't afford it. Building something for a Class A, who's going to come to Harvard for a Class A and take a train that's hour and a half, 2 hours? We need housing that local residents can afford. Not to sugarcoat it, this will destroy property values, especially in Oak Grove. We'll be stuck with our houses we can't sell, or maybe sell less than what we paid it for. This will not fit into Harvard whatsoever. Look at the rest of the town. I mean, it would look great, but it's gonna stick out like a sore thumb. If they're luxury apartments, people who want luxury aren't gonna send their kids to the schools ranking 2 and 3 on Zillow and Redfin. And then how does this really benefit Harvard? People that rent luxury there's no shopping for them, so they're just gonna pack up, go to Lake Geneva, take their money with them. I agree with everyone over here, besides this guy in the vest, because that was like,
Sir, face us and direct your comments to us, and
That's it.
No pointing.
I didn't point, but
Yes, you did.
rock and roll.
Thank you. Clerk, next person, please.
Paul S. at 1303 Orchard. Sorry, I can't make out the last name here. Paul, 1303 Orchard Lane. Nope, okay. David Dahlman.
I agree with everything was said, other than what Mr. Spade said.
Christina Bonitez, I think. Sorry if I mispronounced.
No, Benitez is fine.
Okay. Name and address?
Christina Benitez. I live in Woodstock. I own 1300 Green Meadow.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give before this commission is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
I just wanted to address the fact that I know QNAP for almost 30 years in their developments, and it's brought value to the communities that I know of, such as in Volo and McHenry. The amenities bring people in and they enjoy them. I'm not sure here in Harvard so much as McHenry, but everything is Class A in McHenry, and it is affordable and it is filling fast. I do believe that the residents in Harvard, the businesses in Harvard could grow and see more growth in that area with bringing in more families. And apartment living is a transitional step for a lot of people that turn into home ownership. So, they don't typically stay in an apartment for the length of time that someone in a home would live in. So I believe that it could increase the value here by them transitioning into homes and maybe wanting to stay more local when they buy. Trying to up the value of the community, not just homes, but the businesses. That revenue will come in from all these additional families that would live here. I do think it's a great project. I think it would bring value to the city of Harvard and give it a little facelift, and I just think it would be beneficial to consider changing the zoning to R6. Thank you.
Thank you. Clerk, next.
Mr. or Miss Desiderio, 1204 Magnolia.
I just want to say I
Pardon?
agree with this side.
Okay. Teresa Reyes. Risa Reyes. 1204 Magnolia. Maria Palayo, 1204 Willow.
This is my wife, can I speak for her?
Sure.
Okay.
Name and address for the record, please.
1204 Willow Lane,
Your name?
Cesar Pelayo.
Raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you're about to give before this commission is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, I completely disagree with what these two persons said over here. One of them works for Mr. Kunis.
Cesar, I know you like to talk with your hands, but face us.
I am facing you.
Yeah, but don't point that way. We're not accusatory or anything.
I disagree with the one in the vest and the last person that spoke. I 150% agree with all my neighbors. One of them on this side works for Mr. Kunis, and the other one lives in Woodstock. It's a nice transition. Well then, go rent in McHenry or go rent in Bolo. This is being rushed, and the important points are being overlooked. Roadways, drainage, school system, school transport. Right now, they have a problem getting kids to school. Something this big does not belong in that little corner. Build it somewhere else. There is no room for that. There is no roadways for that. I know in paper everything fits nice. How? Well, they just come up with the 33 more spaces. And nobody knows how, because I think that the energy is not going to be a problem. Well, I think that's not going to fit in Harbor. These are not facts. They're showing facts. Police
Cesar,
calls
so in other words,
are cats.
you're agreeing with the people that spoke before you?
Not them.
Not the presenter. but
Yes.
All the residents.
The
from-
ones that live
Yes,
here,
so
yes.
help us understand.
And
You agree.
I really want the board to think about this, because we're clearly against this project. And the decision that you make is going to affect for good or for really bad. And in the future, you're not going to be here, but we are going to be there. That's a guarantee. So I really hope that you guys think about us, the residents of the city of Harbor, and what we're saying here. That's my opinion.
Thank you.
Go Bears.
Clerk Logan, is there anyone else on the list?
No, there is not.
Is there anyone else in the room that wishes to speak and give testimony to this hearing? Sir, would you please come to the podium?
My name is Robert F. Dapper. I live at 302 West Burbank Street in Harvard.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give before this commission is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
I only have a minor point of contention with regard to this beautiful rendering. Wonderful, wonderful place. 660 cars with an additional 30. Is that 30 or 33? Whatever. Puts you up to 690 some odd cars on one street. However, what's going to happen, you know darn well, when 14 gets backed up to Foreverville, 2nd Street becomes the artery they're going to choose. Guaranteed. At present time, on 2nd Street, it's basically a proving ground for Indy 500. Trust me, you hear them wind up the engine at Northfield, They're flying down. They may or may not stop at McKinley. And then they fly from there all the way up to downtown. And that's coming out principally from our current apartment building. So we're going to add another 600 and some odd vehicles, potentially. Where are they going to go? On 2nd Street, city well knows, starting at Burbank, where I live, heading northbound, on the entire east side, there are no sidewalks. Zippity-zoo, nothing. And right now, with the snow, I've got kids trundling off to school. But because the streets have been narrowed, now I've got kids walking further into the street. And I still have cars zipping up and down like madmen, and women. Not a pretty sight. And most of these kids, for whatever reason, they go out into that weather, whether it's early morning or in the afternoon, wearing their dark hoodies, their dark clothes. You can barely see them, and yet you still have vehicles flying. Hasn't been stopped, it's been noted, it's been complained about, and I will continue to do so. When the hell are we going to do something about that? That's my big question. All you're going to do is endanger more people by putting 660 more vehicles on that road. Guaranteed. I guarantee it. And I don't want to be the one to see a kid get run over because we didn't have sidewalks for them to walk on, but we added another 600 cars to fly down the streets. Let's take care of that first. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dapper. Anyone else wanting to speak? Please come to the podium and state your name.
Cynthia Pelayo, 1413 6th Street.
Say that again, please.
Cynthia Pelayo, 1413 6th Street.
Cynthia, thank you.
You swear the testimony you're about to give before this commission is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to bring up another point. I know we've already spoken about transportation being an issue. I believe that would be more of an issue for the children being bused to Crosby because of the distance there. But because of the proximity of that lot to where Jefferson and Harvard High School are, I don't believe those children would get a bus. So I live in Turtle Crossing now. I grew up in Oak Grove on Willow Lane. And that is just far enough for the children to get a bus. These would be slightly closer. So if they didn't get a bus, the issue with not having a sidewalk and just it being just shy of a mile could be another safety issue for the children living there, having to walk all the way to school. I mean, like the conditions that are outside right now, I don't think that that would be a good location for the children because of that. And Oak Grove Crossing is a really nice neighborhood. The residents pay an HOA. They pay a lot of money. Unfortunately, the truth of the matter is when people are renting, they don't always take care of their property the same way. They don't have as much skin in the game because they don't own it and they can leave. I do think these could also cause a noise issue for the residents, mainly of Oak Grove, and then more of a traffic issue for the rest of the residents along the road. But I do think that that should be taken into consideration because Oak Grove right now is a really nice, quiet, pretty secluded neighborhood. And I think that's a lot of the reason why the residents like it there, so.
Thank you.
May I speak again?
It's up to you. Okay. Anybody else before Mr. Slendorf wants to speak? Okay, Mr. Slendorf, I'll let you speak again, but keep it brief.
Still under oath.
You're still under oath.
Okay. One of the points I didn't touch about real strongly was the pond that we have at Oak Grove Crossing. I don't know how many of you were around many years ago when some kids took a canoe out of one of their parents' home out into the pond behind Apple Valley Road, and we had 2 or 3 fatalities. We at Oak Grove Crossing do not want to see that happen again, and by introducing an apartment complex of this size with who knows how many children involved, this scares us. That's all I want to say.
Okay, thank you. Okay, last call. Anyone else want to speak? Okay, hearing none, we will close the public testimony presented to this hearing. And moving on,
It's up to you. You can
Is it for the
question
P&Z?
petitioners, or you can allow the petitioner to address anything. Which one? Your preference.
Mr. Kunat, would you like to stand up and say anything further, or are you finished?
There's a couple things I'd like
Oh, come on up.
We are here before the zoning committee, looking for zoning. The project itself doesn't even have to go there. Whether there's a project of a type that would go there would be for the city council to decide. Your job as the zoning board is to decide whether or not it could be done zoning. One of the reasons that it got removed back down to R2, or from what it was, is when a city goes through blanket rezoning, they typically take all the properties that aren't objected to and nobody comes out, and they bring them all down to the lowest use so they can be all brought back up or brought to wherever the city feels best. It's not designating them to be single family. That's why they become agriculture, and they all revert back to where they were. It is the zoning board's decision to make a recommendation to the city council whether they could improve the zoning up or down. The city council, and by your voting, you're not voting mandatory, it's a recommendation to the city council, as you probably are aware. As a rebuttal, if I may, to some of the facts that were said, a lot of it was guesswork, a lot of it came out of nowhere that I heard. We have written facts that you all see in regards to police calls, students. I don't know where 100 to 200 came from. They wouldn't all even be school students if there was that many, but they won't be that many in what we've projected from the Illinois state numbers. We are always work with the schools before we can get anywhere because the city council requires that. City council requires that we work with all the departments before we go any farther. What we're asking for is the opportunity to get to the city council. And that's what we're hoping from the zoning board today. It's just a recommendation to move forward.
Okay, any other questions from our commissioners to Mr. Kunat?
One other comment, we have no Section 8, nor do we have subsidized housing in 15 units or 15 places. So
I
anyway,
see some furrowed eyebrows. Anybody else? Paul, Steve, Jay?
I have a lot of numbers I was running, but they aren't questions on this. So.
Okay. Josh?
Do you have any comments on police activity in Kunat properties?
yeah, we contacted the police departments and got those facts. You have the facts in your packet there.
Here?
Yeah. And we did contact the police departments and we got the numbers from them. Will? Yeah, they're, like I say, they're in your packet there. Help me out here, Will, I'm a little frustrated.
In Northfield Court, about what they said, it's about like 263, we have 259, somewhere in there.
Okay,
Around the same number.
in 2022, we had 156, according to the police department from Harvard, calls for service. In 2025, we have 201. In 2024, we had 223. We aren't making the numbers up. This is what we got from the department. Now,
People may not agree with that. They have to talk to the police department themselves. This is what we have. And 250 single-family homes in 2024 were 605 versus 223. And Northfield has 240 units. So the comparison was as close as we could get. As far as property values going down, when we built in Volo, again, it's in your packet, you'll see that the property values in the surrounding areas, right up front, I want to use the word doubled, but I'm not, since the numbers are very small here, but you can read them. The property values in McHenry and right down the street, closer than Oak Grove, in both Volo and McHenry, went up. These are not derogatory. These will not take it away. I'm concerned with our properties that are in Harvard to listen to comments that say we're below standard and we don't want to get any better. We're below standard. People aren't going to move here to avoid nice houses. They're not going to want to live in nice things. That to me is insane. People are going to want to move to nice places. And yeah, the incomes will come with them. There are factories I know that would like to come to Harvard, but they are looking elsewhere because they can't get employees to live here in town. And again, while this project may not fit this property, the zoning on that property at one time was supposed to be there. It probably should go back. And let somebody, if we don't do it, somebody else should be there. And that's pretty much what I...
Okay, thank you. Take a seat. Any other questions? You didn't have any other questions, right?
I mean, one of the comments I'll make, though, is as part of new construction, you have to build sidewalks and you have to put them in, whether or not it's on the plan or not, the city requires that. So at least in that neighborhood, that will be addressed regardless of what goes in there, as long as it's not another cornfield.
All I can say to the commissioners are, don't get mired in the details. This is always more about, the details are important, but it's about everything else. So as you consider that, as Attorney Matt told you in the beginning, you know, our job is the zoning. The details, yes, are important, and everyone here brought up very important details. Mr. Kunat brought up important details, the public brought up important details. But we have to keep our focus about what we think, or our vote as an advisory. Once again, we are an advisory to the city council. They will either like what we tell them, or they won't like what we tell them. They will either vote with it or against it. They will value our opinion or our motions. So what I'm working towards is I need a motion on the floor from one of you commissioners, and then I'm looking for a second.
I motion to deny the zoning change.
I'll second.
Any discussion about the motion and the second that's on the floor from any of the commissioners? So Attorney Matt, would you restate his motion and then just be clear about how the voting should be?
Right, so my understanding is the motion was to deny the change in zoning, which would mean an aye vote, a yes vote would be to deny the change and keep it where it currently is.
Everybody clear? So we have a motion, we have a second. Clerk, we need to have a vote.
Commissioner Creviston.
Aye.
Grieshop.
Aye.
Hereley.
Aye.
Licht.
Aye.
Patnaude.
Aye.
Sandoval.
Aye.
Albertson.
Aye.
All ayes. The petition is denied.
This will come before the city council again?
Deb, is that December 9th?
December 9th.
7 p.m.
At this time, we will close this particular hearing. Do I need a vote on that?
No, you close the hearing.
So that hearing is closed. Clerk, do you have a report?
Do we have anything for January? I have no report, except that this will come before the city council next Tuesday at 7 PM in East Chambers.
I have no chairman's report. I need a motion to close the meeting. A motion by Commissioner Patnaude. I need a second.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, please keep it down till the motion is adjourned.
Still in session here. Please. Do we have a second?
Second to close the meeting. Steve? By Commissioner Creviston. Clerk, call the roll.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Meeting is closed.
Percentage of Harvard is working, which I will do. But of this multi-family housing, 74% is single, which means that there's an average of 27% of the housing.
No,